All right. Hi, and welcome back to Politidoxy. I'm your host, Aaron Friedman. Today, I'm glad to say that we have another bunch of great guests. We have Zakiya Cooper and sorry, Chewchew Cooper,
Yes.
who both of them both of them are former Democrats, and better said, both of them are former liberals now turned conservative, and their story is quite interesting. I found it very interesting and very compelling. So I would like for you to introduce yourselves on your own terms and tell us your walkaway story.
Okay, I'll start. My name is Zakiya Cooper. On social media, I go by Locked In with Zaza, and I'm 24 years old. I'm from Chicago, and yeah, as he stated, I was a full blown crazy liberal Democrat, whatever you want to call it. I attended Black Lives Matter rallies and everything, and I had an experience that pretty much knocked me into reality.
My name is Chewchew. You can actually call me Darrell because that's my first name. Chewchew is my nickname. Darrell Cooper. She and I are married. We actually had the red pill experience at the same time because I was living with her when it kind of went down, and I was like subconsciously Democrat.
So both of you are you as we stated before. You're both of you are former liberals. You got woke up to, and would mean the literal woke up, not the the bad
Right.
kind.
Right.
You
The
woke up to
woke.
what's going on. You got wise to the liberal betrayal, I would say, because liberalism promises you a whole bunch of things. They promise you the compassion and love and tolerance, all these other things, but apparently when it comes to the delivery, it never actually delivers, and when it does, it is much to be desired. So, and not only that, when it does, as it happened to you guys, that it's not only much to be desired, it's actually the opposite, where they ask you to be the one that is tolerant. It asks you to be the one
Yep.
to, you have to compromise on your principles, you have to compromise on your safety and security, because somebody else's feelings might get a little bit hurt. And don't even buy, and when it comes to your story, I don't even buy it. I don't buy that most of these people, they actually get hurt, and we'll get into that. They actually get hurt. It's that they got to keep up the persona of being what they claim to be while actually not being that. They don't actually get hurt. Some of them do, because they're that ingrained in it, but I don't believe that most of them actually believe in that and those things. I believe that the majority of them are just taking advantage of the situation because they know there is a party that will protect them, and they are perverts, in my
Yep.
point of
Yep.
view. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. So what happened to you guys was that you moved. I'm as far as I can remember, as you're telling your story, you moved into a new place, and you were told that you were going to get a roommate. You didn't have initially a roommate, which was cool. I have also had once, when in a hotel room, I was volunteering for cancer kids, making them happy and such. And the roommate that I was supposed to get did not show up, so that's cool. It's always
Yeah.
nice not it's always nice to have a nice place for yourself. But then, okay, but you knew beforehand. Okay, you're gonna get a roommate. Okay, fine. When that happens, that happens. And you were promised it was gonna be a woman, and turns out that no, you did not get a woman. You got somebody who was cosplaying as a woman. And
Exactly.
this is what I find the funniest thing. This is the funniest thing that I find, that the way you figured out that that is not a woman is because you didn't never ever see her beforehand. You didn't see her. The first way you found out that that was not a woman was because they left the toilet seat up. I find that so comically hilarious. You know why? Because for all the talk, let's not even talk about genetics. Let's not even talk about the hormones. Let's not talk about physical characteristics, anything of the sort. Just the mental part, that men don't put the toilet seat down. Meanwhile, women do. That's how you figure out, wait a minute, something
Yep.
doesn't click here. So
Yep.
this is the funny part. The funniest part of it is that they claim to be a woman, but yet forget to do the things that women do.
Exactly.
Only do it in character, when they're playing a character, putting on a dress. Only then they do it, but they don't actually do the things, the mental things that women do, or the mental things that women go through. So that is what I found so comical. But I would like for you, if I left out any details, I would like for you to put in more details and in a more vivid description of what the situation was.
Okay, yeah. For the most part, yeah, that's a pretty accurate analysis of what happened. What I will say is, with the whole roommate situation, they didn't even warn me that they were giving me a roommate. When I first moved in, I was made aware that I could potentially get a roommate. And as you stated, I didn't have a roommate at first. It was for about 1 year. I had the whole space to myself. And then I slowly noticed, because what was occurring was me and him were dating. So I had my own apartment, but I wasn't really staying in there. I was more or less staying with him, spending nights with him. So I was only coming to and from my spot to pick up clothes and stuff like that. So in the midst of me coming to and from, I was just, going in my bathroom sometimes and just noticing that the toilet seat had been left up. And that was obviously a red flag for me as somebody who does not use the bathroom like that. And at first, I was actually starting to gaslight myself. I'm like, maybe I just left the toilet seat. I don't know. Maybe I cleaned it and just forgot to put the toilet seat down. But the toilet wasn't clean. Like, that guy was the most disgusting. Just this person, he didn't have any good habits at all. He did not flush the toilets. He did not clean the toilets. He did not clean the shower. He did not clean the sink. He cleaned nothing.
He didn't wash his hands.
He didn't do anything.
He sounds like a lot of people, not a lot, but some people I know. It sounds like, but not very much womanly to me.
No,
it doesn't sound very womanly to me.
Yeah, it was despicable. It was
not to say that men don't flush the toilets, but if I would assign that kind of stereotype or that kind of behavior of being guilty of it, I would suspect men would, how about this? If I were to put out a poll asking people if they do that kind of thing, I think that the majority of those people would be men and not women.
Yeah, just the habits that he had were nowhere near feminine. The exact opposite of feminine. He did not bother to clean up at all. And upon meeting him, we ended up meeting him face to face. I happened to come out of my room, and he came in at the same time as me. And I literally got a glance at him face to face. He's way taller than me, way bigger than me. It's clearly a man.
5 o'clock shadow
like,
and stuff.
It was a man. And he had super long hair, but it was still you could clearly tell that it was a man.
You can hear his deep voice through the walls. I had to tell him a couple times because we got 2 separate rooms, but we share a bathroom. So I had to knock on his door and like, yo, bro, you got to clean up after yourself. Like, you leave my hair in the sink. You're not flushing the toilet. You're not cleaning the toilet. You're not cleaning the sink. Like, you got to clean up after yourself. He's like, yeah, dude, just let me know if I'm doing anything wrong. It's all good. I'm just like, wow, this dude's voice is deep as mine. It's crazy.
But what we all talk about is about how Zakiya felt, which is obviously very important. But you as a man, how did you feel that your woman is, living with this kind of a person? How did you feel? Did you feel secure in this situation?
Nah, not really, because, I'm not there all the time and I work and stuff too. So she typically beats me home. So she's just there. And, what if she forget to lock the door one time? And she used to like, I wasn't in the habit of locking the doors, locking the bathroom door. So like she would tell me, oh, you left the door unlocked. You left the bathroom door unlocked. I'm just like, right, you got to lock the bathroom door now because it's a man over there. So it's just like, it's not comfortable at all because, you out and you just, one of these days you may just get a call from her or something happen.
Right.
Right. I mean, I couldn't imagine being in such a situation and feeling secure, either as a man or a woman, or as somebody who's in a relationship with another person. I wouldn't feel secure for them or for myself or anybody in this entire situation. It just doesn't make any sense. But
yeah,
as we discussed, you didn't. Both of you did not feel safe about this. But what were your first thoughts about it when you? The first thoughts were like, okay, how about maybe we should be a little bit more tolerant? Maybe there's something we can work out. Maybe we just don't get it. Maybe we are the problem. Was that something that crossed your mind?
Yeah, because, being on the left, I wanted to be as PC as possible. Despite the feelings of discomfort that I had with the circumstances, I still was more thinking about how he may have felt as opposed to how I was feeling. And so I'm like, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to be rude towards him. I'm gonna just clean up after him. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna complain. I'm gonna just try to be as quiet as possible.
After him. The first day we came back, that bathroom was destroyed, and she cleaned all of that up.
And he immediately came and did the same thing. It's like, I'm like cleaning up after you. I'm literally cleaning your poop out of the toilet, and you come in and do it again, like you don't care. It just was the most disgusting thing.
Wow. Let's not even look. One part is important to look at is that is not a woman, that is a man. But the other side is, let's not even look at that. Can you just be a normal roommate? Look, I get it. I mean, I get it that you're cosplaying a woman. Now we live in a society that we need to get it. We need to understand it for some reason. But can you at least be a normal roommate about this? Can we at least listen? It's weird enough already. Can we leave it at which point? Have we gone too far in the weirdness? Why do you need to be so messy? It just doesn't. It doesn't compute to be that messy and being so such a just a vulgar person in general.
Yeah.
So that causes you that is like the lightning bolt that wakes you up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And tells you that, okay, something is wrong. No. This ain't working for me. So where did you go from there? What resources did you start using to figure out, okay, wait a minute, maybe I'm more conservative. Maybe I'm more right wing than I initially thought. What started driving you towards being more conservative and taking on this more conservative point of view?
Okay, so the exact moment where we pretty much got knocked into conservatism, well, me personally, was when I reached out to my housing manager directly and I inquired. I'm like, so what's going on? How did I end up with a male roommate? Y'all specifically told me I would have a female one. The lady, I sent her an email. She responds to the email, I'm going to give you a call. She calls me. I have no paper trail of this, but I promise. This lady called my phone. It was a woman. She told me, yeah, we knew you were going to call about this circumstance. We were unable to discriminate against this guy. So that's why we had to assign him a female roommate. He identifies as a woman. Blah blah blah. So if if you're uncomfortable with that, we can make arrangements for you to switch rooms or whatever. But ultimately we can't really do anything about him. When I received that phone call, I just was like, I had to take a second to think. Like, wait a minute, what in the world is this lady talking about? She cannot discriminate against this man who they put in my room. So y'all are really telling me that I have to just deal with the fact that this guy has some type of mental thing going on. And he has the right to literally take over me as a woman. Y'all are discriminating against me as a physical woman because of this guy's feelings. When that reality set in, that's all we were like, wow, like this is crazy. This is actually insane. And what exactly is she talking about? We can't discriminate against him. According to who? According to the state of Illinois? According to the city of Chicago? Like what? And that pretty much led us down the deep dive.
Yeah, we started off watching Matt Walsh, and he was talking about it explicitly.
Yeah.
Like, he was getting into the details, and he was basically saying, like, look, these Democrats, these liberals, the left. And we're like, what is the left? Like, the politics? Is that what this is? So it's like, wow. So then we got to the point where we're like, wow, these so-called Democrats are crazy. So then you start going down the wormhole of conservatism, and then, at the same time, we was on our spiritual journey. We was on individual spiritual journeys, and it just came full circle because... It just came full circle because we was already like, it caused us to look at our own values and what we believed in. And we realized that what we were voting for was not aligned with what we believed in at all. And, we was tolerant. We like, yeah, if you want to be gay or be trans, I don't really care. We don't care. Just don't impose that on us. But now it's being imposed on us. So now we have to push back on it. So once we started watching Matt Walsh, we just kind of went down a wormhole, and we ended up coming to like Jesse Lee Peterson, where we completely got Christ pilled because we was able to see past our skin color. Because we would hear Matt Walsh, but we weren't. Whenever he would talk about black people, we would get offended. Every time he would talk about black people, we get offended. But then we got to the point where we're like, oh, he's not wrong though. He's not wrong, and we had to understand that we're not black. This is just the body that our spirit is hosting. That's what it is. We're a spirit made in the image of God. So once we got to that point, everything just unraveled. Everything just started to make sense, and that's when we fully became conservative.
Yep.
So you've been referring to this person as he wants to be referred to as she, and you right now have been talking about this person as a he, and we know that what we are supposed to do is to refer to them as they want to be called. So why? The question is, why are you referring to this person as a he and not a she?
I can answer that.
No, I will answer it because we refuse to lie. I will not be lying. If you're calling somebody a she, who's clearly a man, who has the biological male parts, that's lying,
Yep.
and
That's a sin.
That's wrong.
That's a sin.
It's that
Lying is
simple.
a sin. And as well as we watched 1984, and we're fully aware of doublespeak and changing, reality and stuff. That's communist tactics. We're not doing that.
I love your answer only because it is true. Your answer is 100% correct, and I don't believe. Listen, sometimes lying could be an act of kindness. There's some lies that, objectively speaking, let's say this is so stereotypical, but it's just the easiest, laziest one that I can think of. So I'm going to say it. Let's say you have Jews in your house, and the Nazis come in, and where the Jews, and you're hiding them under the basement. Then you could lie and say, no, there are no Jews here. Although I've seen some Jews run over that way, yes, then lying would be an act of kindness. But in this case, lying is not an act of kindness, and you have to say the truth. Whenever you can, you should say the truth. Sometimes when confronted with insurmountable amount of evil, lying towards the evil, that is and misdirecting the evil, that is an important part. But when you are confronted by something that's good and kind, you should tell the truth. And I'm so glad that you answered the answer as concise, as short as possible, because that would be lying. That is a male in a woman's dress. That's all it is. There's
Yep.
there's
That
no
is an abomination.
sophisticated elite psychologist type, not Hollywood. What's the other one? Academic type professor that will come. Oh no, it's the gender. It's separate. It's a construct. It's a societal thing. No, it's not that. No, it's not that complicated. It's simple. It's a man in a woman's dress.
Yep.
Nothing too fancy. Hell, it's
Yep.
not fancy at all. So you left the Democrats, and you became more conservative. The question is, did you hold a lot of these viewpoints as a Democrat, but didn't realize that they are actually, somewhat conservative, and then you became completely conservative? You had some liberal views, but were you more or less completely liberal, or did you realize, wait a minute, a lot of our views are not actually liberal. We're kind of moderate in that sense. We're actually conservative.
Well, the black community was typically conservative. We grew up not saying we were conservative, but our values were definitely Christian, which was making us conservative. But the only thing that I would say I was liberal on was like the redistribution of wealth, because I was learning in college about socialism and Marxism and stuff, and Marx seemed to explain the ways of the world, and it just made sense. So communism was sounding good in college, but like socially, we were more conservative.
Yeah. For me, I always knew that the liberal ideologies that I was being taught and taken in were wrong. Like, I remember it distinctly in high school being taught that me as a black person, I'm not able to be racist. They told me that. They told me that I lacked the systemic power to be racist. And I remember upon learning that, I remember hearing that and thinking it made no sense. But, I'm like, okay, I guess. I mean, they saying it, so I guess this is the new thing. But something inside of me, which was honestly my heart, was telling me, hey, that makes no sense. That don't make sense.
Right. I mean, race, again, when it comes to race, this is I have only two races that I'm concerned about: the kind and the evil. There are two kinds of races, in my opinion, and that's actually
Yep.
Dennis. I take that from Dennis Prager. Two races: the kind and the wicked. That's all I care. I don't care about skin color, characteristics, all the rest of it. I don't care about. But what you're saying is that you have been taught to be racist towards white people, and that is a growing problem. I've seen it myself. It is a growing problem, but that's on one side of the conversation. But since you've left, what I've heard, that you've also encountered now a lot of racism, not from conservatives. You've been welcomed by the conservatives, but what I've heard is that you have encountered a lot of racism from the left. Tell us more about that.
Oh yeah, I mean we've been dealing with the surplus of racism from black people. This very people who believe that they're unable to be racist are the very people
The
who are
most.
immediately calling us coons, calling us sellouts, calling us Uncle Toms. Pretty much
Bootlickers.
every slur you can think of that people use against black conservatives have been hurled at us by fellow blacks, and that it's the most
But
apparent thing.
what I heard, what you said was in the video. You said that you've been called Clarence Thomas's daughter.
Oh
What was
yeah,
it?
Clarence Thomas's daughter.
I would take that as a compliment.
I do.
Come on.
Oh, I
would think
do.
That
do.
is a compliment. That is a compliment. If I ever heard a compliment, come on. That is a compliment.
Yeah.
It's so
Because that
funny.
guy, the genius of that guy is unmatched by anybody the left can muster.
Yup.
Come on.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
don't even
Whoever
know.
said that was not in their right
They don't
mind.
even
They don't know what they're talking
They don't
about.
even know what they're talking
They call
about.
us Uncle Tom, but Uncle Tom was a hero in the book. So
Yup.
I mean,
They literally
Yeah, that's
don't know what
another
they're
thing.
talking
That's
about.
something I found also comical. I found that comical that they don't know that Uncle Tom, Tom, whatever, he is the hero in the story, but that's a separate issue. But when it comes to Clarence Thomas, I'm like, can you even ever compare yourself to his intellectual? Just anybody who tries to attack him, and I've seen a lot of people, and it's funny. What's this guy's name? Harry Sisson. He is shilling for Biden hard on Twitter, and he's mostly on TikTok. So he so-called attacked. I wouldn't call it an attack, mostly because he's such a sissy. He can't attack Clarence Thomas, but he said that he tried to attack Clarence Thomas because of the Supreme Court came out in support of Donald Trump being back on the ballot anyway. So he attacked him, and then he attacked both Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas, and I said, okay, I see what's going on here. You realize that it's racist for you only to attack Clarence Thomas, so you started to attack Samuel Alito as well, which, by the way, both of them are more or less the same person. They're more or less their intellectual mind is basically the same. But here's the thing about that. I said that I would love to see Harry Sisson or his other guy, I don't remember his brother, his doppelganger, whatever. I would love to see this guy in an intellectual conversation with Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas would beat Harry Sisson's ass to the curb so hard, proverbially speaking, of course, to the curb so hard that he would finally gain an IQ above room temperature. I mean, you can't even. Don't bring up Clarence Thomas. I get you don't like the right. Do not bring him up. You're not gonna win that debate. You're not gonna win.
Don't do that
You cannot dunk at him.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen his latest video, by the way, with Clarence Thomas. They asked him if he's going to resign, and he said that I'm going to resign only if I do as bad as a job as you as the media do yours. It's brilliant, brilliant answer, just like that. Love it. So, and by the way, for all the talk about, and this is, again, I don't really like talking about this because it's so overplayed. The right is racist, and no, I'm not racist. Look, we support Clarence Thomas. We love Clarence Thomas or Carol Swain or whatever other black prominent conservative. I'm like, you don't have to prove it. Do you? The question is, do you have hate in your heart? No?
Yep.
Okay, you're not racist. End of discussion.
Right.
I mean, it's just that simple. So the right really plays into this when the left accuses them of being racist. That's why when the left accuse me of racism, I just say, thanks for noticing. That's it. I just
right.
play into it. I mean,
Might as
come
well.
on.
yeah.
I mean, you have no power here. Anyway, what I was saying was that although it's so overplayed from the right, I still love this one meme where you have where the right is like, we're not racist. We would have an entire Supreme Court of just Clarence Thomas, and we would be happy. If everybody on the Supreme Court was Clarence Thomas, we'd be jumping happy for such a Supreme Court. And I'm like, it's so true though. We all love this guy. This guy is the most. Him and Samuel Alito, the most brilliant Supreme Court justices of our time. Anyway, we're getting off track. So, you've encountered a lot of hate it's basically from the left, and what you're saying is it's mostly from black people?
Yep.
Yeah, they take it the most personally.
It's like a betrayal.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because we was on that side too. They feel like that we kind of stabbed them in the back. And we know exactly how y'all think. We're airing out the dirty laundry. We know exactly how y'all think, what y'all talk about, what y'all like. So we're going to expose this evil culture that y'all got going on.
Yep.
So mostly you're getting it from black people. And have you have you noticed it coming from also white liberals, or is it like an overwhelming barrage and it's mostly black people?
It's mostly black
It's
people.
mostly black, but I've also had a few white
Wow.
liberals
Yeah, you
who
got
feel like we need to be in our place also. I have
yeah.
seen examples of that, but overwhelmingly, it's the black people take it the most personally, for sure.
Wow, I mean, you just gotta love it. You just got. It's not that you can't talk to a black person and tell them, listen, you're voting against your interests because this and that. You know, if you have actual policy issues that you can prove, listen, these issues will help the black community. And as a liberal, you can say that there's no problem, and also as a conservative. But my problem is when liberals say that, well, you can't tell black people what to do, and then proceeds to tell black people what to do. If you want to tell black people you're voting against your interests, you can do that from either side. It's not a problem. You can have a normal conversation about it. But
Yeah.
once you say you can't do that, you tell the right that you can't do that, and then you proceed to do that because you don't fit into the narrative. You don't fit into the frame, the picture, and their picture is ugly. I mean, now we're not. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. We're not going to play that game. But one of the most important things that you talk about is that your faith plays a huge role in your becoming more right wing, becoming more conservative, taking politics more seriously. Tell
Yeah.
me more about that aspect. What drives you and keeps you going because of the all the hate as we discussed that you're getting? What drives you?
Just knowing that I'm telling the truth is really the only thing that I need to drive me. It's like I'm 100% sure that what I'm doing is right. And every time we receive like an ounce of criticism from somebody, it's just showing we're just revealing people's demons, honestly. And when you have the truth on your side, there's really no reason to be fearful or back down.
So both of you, as we discussed, both of you have been experiencing hate. The question is this kind of hate familiar to you? Because you said that you were also hateful when you were liberal. You were hateful and racist towards white people. Is Do you see a parallel between you being in the past being hateful towards white people and now black people being showing hatred towards you? Is it similar, or would you say it's a different kind of hatred? What would you say about it?
Yeah, it's similar. It's exactly me specifically. I don't know about him. He wasn't really as extreme as I was, but I personally used to dish out a lot of hateful rhetoric. And the other day, I was going through my camera roll, and I came across a video of me from maybe 2022, and I was just being watching the video. I couldn't even believe it was me. I was saying the most hateful things, just saying how much I hated white people for no reason. And just seeing that character that I had for no apparent, don't even know why I was so angry, but knowing that it was just so normal for me to just talk mess about white people, and seeing other people who look just like us doing that, you could see ourselves from the past. It's really scary, honestly, because I realized, wow, like we were really in the mix of all that.
Yeah, and
I would say.
I
Go ahead.
yeah,
Go
I
ahead,
wasn't too bad with it. I had like white friends and stuff. Like I had white homies. I kicked it with everybody, but what was implanted in my head was like not to trust white people. Like don't leave your cups sitting around them. Don't smoke their weed. Don't do their drugs type stuff. That's really what it was like, a more subconscious. Like, yeah, we cool, but you still white, you know. So that's what it was. Yeah.
To be fair, you shouldn't be smoking anybody's weed or
Yeah,
anybody's
exactly.
drugs. To be
Exactly.
fair, just to be fair, don't do
Yeah.
drugs, kids.
Yeah.
Mostly, I know it might seem cool. It's not cool. Just for the record, it's not cool. It's basically what all the people who want you to believe is cool. They do it, but that is just peer pressure. So it's not cool because if you want to stand out, because the things that stand out, those are the things that most of the time is cool. Standing out means you're not doing the drugs. Given the offer, you're offered them, and then you're like, no, I've got self-discipline. I'm not gonna do that. But I would say, do you still have that video, the one where you express the hatred?
Yes. Yeah. It's in
I
my
would
phone.
say, put it away, save it as a
Oh yeah.
reminder. Save that as a reminder, and I don't. Whenever you decide to have kids, I would say save that when they're old enough. Show them what could have been. Show them the what used to be. Show them that how much a person can change. I think it's an inspiring story. So you want to
Yeah.
encapsulate that moment and say, listen, this is what used to be, and now look at me now. No more hatred, none of that. I know, and I would say that would be just a beautiful thing to show, because now, because I don't expect the hatred to of the races, and thank you Obama for that. I would say he's the worst president
Yeah.
we've had in. I want to say in history, but most people would say that, oh, just because he's so recent, because this is how this works, because the recent presidents are more hated. But you know how this goes. But the reason I want to say in history is because we did progress, and I don't mean that in the liberal way, the progressives. I just mean like literally progressed on the racial issues. We progressed and we were almost there, and then Obama like destroyed everything, and now we're gonna have to live with the fallout of that. That is why I believe he was the worst president. And I'm not even talking about the his administration, his policies. Those are trash as well. But I'm just talking about we were finally getting together. We're finally having a kumbaya moment. We're finally getting over it, and then everything reignites, and now billions of dollars of damage, tens of people dead, and it's only going to get worse from here. So I would say put away that video, because you don't know what kind of things they would try to indoctrinate your children. Put it away, save it, show them what you used to be, and then with that could act as a as a deterrent. Show them that you could have grown up to be one of those crazy leftist feminists running around crying and never having a single day, of peace, thinking everybody is oppressing you. You could have been that, but no, you're actually building a functional family. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I was gonna say I literally was. I was a crazy feminist, Black Lives Matter radical. I was about to go to an HBCU and study African American studies. I wanted to be a professor of African American studies. So I was about to be the most dangerous combi. I was about to be extremely radical. I probably never would have got married, because I really wasn't interested in ever like getting married or respecting a man. Like I wasn't really into all that. I was calling myself an independent woman constantly, and it was just a mess. So I'm very glad that I had my experience and turned my life around before I made any permanent decisions. For sure.
So as I said, keep that video as an insurance policy to show them this could have been, and see how good your life is. You see how good things are, because things are just gonna get worse. Now you just mentioned that you are, first of all, religious above all else, but also more, I would say, traditional. You didn't use that word, but what I could discern from what you were saying, that you're more traditional. Is that correct? Okay, so being more traditional. Do you believe that being a more traditional person, being more submitting to your husband, being is that a good choice for people? Would you recommend it for more people to just accept first of all, a religious lifestyle, and then also a traditional lifestyle? Is it how does it feel?
Yeah, it feels amazing. Initially it was kind of scary to take that step, because pretty much every girl around me my age, I'm 24 as I stated, I don't really know a lot of girls who are married at all. I know a lot of girls with babies, but I do not know any girls who are married, and I certainly don't know any girls who would openly say that they submit to their husband. Like that's unheard of, especially in our 20s. It's just not happening. Like, most girls are saying that they're not interested in submitting to a man. They'll never submit to a man. They don't need a man. So it's highly recommended. I'm very happy in my marriage. Even though we haven't been married for a year yet, I can tell that just the few months that we've been traditional versus the 3 years that we were together before I became traditional is just way better. We have a way better relationship dynamic.
And Chewchew, what would you say?
I recommend it 100%, because when you do it traditional and you do it all the way, all the pieces fall into place. You get you a modest woman that's more of an asset rather than a bill. So when she stays at home, she's not burning holes in your pockets. And then the money that you would spend on public schools and daycare centers and stuff, you can save that or spend it on your family. because this is your babysitter right here. This is the mother. The mother's supposed to be with the kid anyway. So you trying to compensate for a bunch of stuff you don't really need to compensate for.
Let me ask you about this. And if I ask any questions that go too far because I don't want to get too personal, just let me know and I'll back off. So you're probably planning on having kids, right? What would you say? Do you plan on sending them to public school? Because you've seen the hatred, and as Black conservatives, you have a higher risk from, or your children might have a higher risk from getting bullied, especially in the future. Future children just going to be more racist and more, full of hatred. So would
Yeah.
you send them to public school to be? And I'm not even talking about the leftism. That is that in and of itself. Also, you know what? I'm applying that also. Also, the leftism. All things considered, would you send them to public school?
Oh
Nah.
no. It's not happening. I personally was homeschooled. My mom homeschooled me from like second grade to fourth grade. So I had about 3 school years of homeschooling. And just that brief duration that I had versus me being in public schools, that was like the most critical part of my life where I learned so much. My mom put her all into making sure that me and my younger sisters were educated and we knew how to critically think. And I would love to bestow that to my own children, especially given my mom is still on the left, but she still had that in her just to know that she needed to homeschool her kids, at least for a brief duration. So, given what I know, that's a guarantee they're going to be homeschooled. It's a guarantee.
I must say it paid off. I mean, even though you did later on become more a leftist and more of a feminist, all the crazy buzzwords, but at the end, you got back to your roots. You did not go down that path. You got a
Yeah.
little, in the younger years, you're more radical. More or less, people are more radical in their younger years, but then they
Yeah.
get older, they get more established. But you caught on to that early enough, so it's good. I mean, it seems like it paid off. Being that those
Yeah.
moments, yeah, I would be pretty grateful if I were in such a situation, and then seeing, wait a minute, I could have turned out to be one of those miserable feminists, never happy a
Yep.
day in their life, saying, "Oh, I
Miserable.
don't need a man. I don't need a man. I'm so
It's
independent. Yes, I
coping.
have like 15
That all
I
that
have
is copium.
I have 715 cats. 3 of them have already died, but I don't have a man." And I mean, that could have been, but
Yeah.
it's I would say, listen, I'm a little speechless only because I'm thinking about all the hundreds and thousands of people who are in that exact situation and they can't go out of it. They don't see any way out of it, and even if they might not, they're miserable. They know they're miserable, and they can't admit, not even to themselves, that they
Yep.
got to get out of there, because that would be betraying the doctrine.
Yep.
And I guess that is in part why they hate you so much, because you betrayed the
yeah.
doctrine. They taught you this is how you do it. You have to stay in the plantation. If you don't stay in the plantation, then you're a race traitor. You're a coon. You're Uncle Tom. You're all the other words. But you did not. You did not. So I mean, I would say that would be the reason why they feel such a betrayal. We've poured in all these resources, all this money, and now you go ahead and betray us like that. That is,
Yep.
I would say for them, tough luck. We are
Yeah.
not going to fall for this, and we have wonderful people. And I would say this about conservatives. I've noticed that conservatives really love Black conservatives. It's
Yeah.
something, and it is racial, and I'll tell you why. Not only because of the skin color. It's because conservatives know what Black conservatives have to go through in order to stay conservative. And we're not talking about, that they have conservative parents and, they turn out to be conservative. We're talking about they have liberal parents and then they turn conservative. It's not only because of them being Black. It's because conservatives and I think Americans generally love a underdog story. They love a champion story.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all the odds are against you. As a liberal Black person, all the odds are against you becoming conservative. It's hammered into you from day one that the United States is racist. White people are devils. White people, don't trust them. There's sometimes you might have some friends, as you said, you might have some friends, but you don't want to completely trust them, and you're being oppressed. You're enslaved. All the other things, and then you reject that. That is an underdog story if I ever heard one.
Yeah. It is. And I feel like it too, because It's crazy. We're from Chicago. That's another aspect of it. Like we live on the south side of Chicago.
We live on
in the
Martin Luther
most
King Drive.
on Martin Luther King Drive. Okay, and
Okay,
we're surrounded by communism. We're literally surrounded by it. I was taught by Democratic operatives in all my schooling, except for the duration of time where I was homeschooled. It was insane. Like, it's insane. Can't believe we got out.
How would you say both of you? And I want first. First, I want Chewchew to answer, and then you. How does it feel becoming more conservative? The difference, is there like a literal feeling of, let's say, a weight being lifted up of your shoulders? Is there, or finally becoming more happy, less miserable, more grateful? Is there like an actual feeling that you feel from turning from liberal to conservative? Is it like a change within your heart and a change within your psyche, thinking of your way of thinking?
Yeah, everything is changed. It feels like peace. Christ offered us peace, and the kingdom of heaven is here and is now. And once you realize that, there's no way you're oppressed. There's no way. There's no way anybody can oppress you. So just understanding that we actually just spreading the truth, and and we're hated for it. I mean, like Christ said, they'll hate you for my name's sake. So that's really, it feels good, man. It feels great.
Yeah. Pretty much what he said. It feels fantastic. I'm no longer a miserable feminist. I was miserable. Like, I'm telling you, if I go through my camera roll and just look at videos that I used to make videos daily. So you could literally see how my mindset shifted over time. I was in a state of literal depression. I did not know what to do. And I didn't know why I was so miserable. But now, looking back, I'm like, I was miserable because I was a commie. Duh. That's what my problem was. I was never going to be happy because I was never going to be satisfied.
Yep.
Let me just
now
recommend.
I'm happy.
Let me recommend, I don't know if you want to share those videos. I think that maybe some of those videos you should share them and then juxtapose them to what's going on now. So let's say you take a miserable rant about feminism, how important feminism is, and how terrible men are, so on and so forth, and then juxtapose it, edit it together with a video of you talking about how happy you are right now, how you used to feel, just juxtaposing one against the other, how it used to be and how it's now. I think that,
Yep.
that would be a very interesting dynamic to see, for people to see, and it may inspire more people to black, white, Asian, whatever, to change their ways. And it's not just about being conservative. Just, don't be leftist. That's all we're asking. You might become just
Just
a
don't be
normal
leftist.
classical liberal. You might I recommend conservatism, but you just might become an independent or a normal classical liberal. Okay, fine, but just don't be leftist.
Yeah.
Love the country. You're more liberal. Okay, fine, we can have a normal debate, but just don't be a leftist miserable person. So what you're saying is that you recommend, also, as I recommend, for people to become conservative, because the feeling it's a feeling of between night and day is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's freeing to be independent, an independent thinker.
But what would you say to liberals or leftists who are listening to you? They're like, okay, you know what? I'm hearing what you're saying, but I'm not completely convinced. I'm still scared. I listen. We know that what leftists have been hammering into the minds of young people, that the right is oppressive, Donald Trump is the worst, he's literally Hitler and Mussolini and Mao and Stalin and this other guy, I don't remember his name. There is all these mass murderers combined, and he wants to enslave you, as Joe Biden said, he's going to put you back in chains, when he was talking about Mitt Romney. And all the terrible other things that they say. But what would you say to somebody who's open to it, but they're still not convinced? What would you say to the young people listening to you right now? What is the most compelling reason to leave, #walk away from the Democrat plantation?
Go ahead.
Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. If you want salvation, if you want true freedom and individuality, give your life to Jesus. That is literally all you have to do. He changed my heart. He changed her heart. He renewed our minds. And you can think properly. You can see clearly. You can just see through all the BS, and you'll be so the journey that you go through is so it's so thrilling because you get to see just how crazy you was before.
Yeah.
The self reflection is crazy. Do you be like, wow, I can't believe I was doing. Every time you see an old video of yourself, you're just like, oh my god, I can't believe that. I can't believe I like this stuff.
Yeah, like I literally had a diary in 2019 and I was rereading it. It was an entry that I wrote in there. I literally classified myself as a heathen. And so reading that now, I literally cannot believe that I was thinking like that. I'm like, wow, I was on my way to hell. I was actually on my way to hell and I didn't even realize that. I had a smile on my face just like now, but I was not happy. Now it's a genuine smile.
It's one of the most important principles for a person to be is to be happy. And I'm glad that you found happiness, you found peace, you found God, and I'm glad that that actually happened to you. And this should be I mean, the way things are going with the country, I don't see things going very well. But this should be a happily ever after because everything, you found peace, and that's one of the most important things. Most people can't find peace; they can't find gratefulness. We have a bunch of ingrates, ungrateful people, and I would say in part, it's two things that drives leftism. It's that people they think that they're owed something, they're ingrates, and that they don't suffer the consequences of their own actions. If those two things was the norm of the day, you would have I don't think that leftism would be able to survive. So, this has been a wonderful conversation. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I hope all the
Yes.
listeners
For sure.
you absorbed because these two, I think you're going places. By the way, what's the cat's name?
This pumpkin. Wait, put it back. Pumpkin wants to say hi, obviously.
Yes,
Let me see.
He clearly wants to be a star.
Yeah, he wants to be internet famous.
She. You misgendering her.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Then now I'm gonna be canceled. It's okay now. Okay, it's over. It's all over for me. God save me. Anyway, so it's been wonderful. First of all, meeting you because this is the first time we're talking, and you guys are wonderful, and I'm very inspired. I hope you inspired a lot of other people. I hope you got a lot of hate mail, you got a lot of hate DMs and hate responses and all that. I hope that you also received some, inspiration. Some people telling you, you know what, I'm inspired. I may not completely agree with you, but I'm inspired. I hope you found
Yeah.
some lights at the end of the tunnel. I hope you did. So I just want people to be able to follow you, and as I recommended that you should also post some of those videos, so juxtaposing, and people want to follow, see your
Yeah.
content, see what you have to say. Where can they follow you? Both of you.
So-
take your turn.
Okay, so you can follow me at Locked In with Zaza on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter, and on YouTube. And yeah.
And you can follow me at Chewchew on Twitter. On Twitter and Instagram is Chewchew Beats. On YouTube is Chewchew Reacts. And the YouTube page has been doing great. We post a lot of great content. We're tackling the culture and all the misinformation.
Yeah.
And it's doing so well.
Oh, and before we end, I actually forgot one thing. I just wanted to point out that you are actually a hairstylist, right?
So not a hairstylist. My original platform before I was Red Pill, I'm a natural hair influencer. So, this is my natural hair. A big issue in the black community that I've always observed was that a lot of black women have insecurities surrounding their hair, and I believe that those insecurities are pretty much the downfall of our community. Insecure women do things like create single mother households, which the black community does, and just upholds a lot of feminine values. So I think that the hair issue is something that is hugely under developed in the community, and I really want to discuss that also. So that's something.
So where can they follow you for that?
It's Locked In with Zaza on TikTok specifically.
For all the hair-related issues. Great.
Yes.
So for those who want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter at Aaron Politidoxy, or email me at politidoxy@gmail.com, or follow me at Aaron Friedman on Instagram. If you want to, and the most important thing you can do is share this episode, send it around, like, comment, subscribe, and leave 5 stars if you're listening on Spotify, actually watching on Spotify as a matter of fact. And remember, my fellow radicals, stay political.